Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Jayaṃ veraṃ pasavati, dukkhaṃ seti parājito, upasanto sukhaṃ seti hitvā jaya parājayaṃ. Jayaṃ veraṃ pasavati, victory generates hatred. Dukkhaṃ seti parājito, the one who was defeated dwells in pain. Upasanto sukhaṃ seti, the one who has inner peace based on equanimity lives happily, peacefully, hitvā jaya parājayaṃ, discarding both victory and defeat. Friends, this is what the Buddha taught to the king of Kosala, when he was defeated by his own nephew Ajatasattu, the king Ajatasattu. Victory, real victory is not the victory. Victory breeds hatred. That is how the Buddha saw it. The real victory is inner peace. Peace is impossible without equanimity. That is the gist of it. Today is the last day, last Dhamma talk, but not least. It is the most important, I guess. Why? Because it is because of this one. It is because of this equanimity one can realize the Four Noble Truths and attain full enlightenment. So, for this Dhamma talk, our topic is equanimity as a factor of enlightenment. Equanimity, the Pali term for equanimity is upekkha. Upekkha, etymologically, upa ikkhati is a combination. Upa and ikkhati, two terms. Upa means inside. Ikkhati means see. You see inside. The whole teaching of the Buddha is for this purpose. To see inside, not outside. Buddha didn't want to see outside and teach us many things in the whole system of the worlds over there. But Buddha realized things within the Four Noble Truths. The ones the Buddha said, the world, the origination of the world, the cessation of the world, and the path leading to the cessation of the world is here within. So he taught us to realize the nature, real nature here within. That is how we have to understand this term upekkha, upa ikkati, all the time. See inside. See inside means not, sometimes it is not necessarily within, though even in our daily life, in certain things, we have to see inside. Inside of it means we are not in extremes. There are extremes. If you go to an extremes, you cannot see inside. You always have to see inside. Come to the middle way. The Buddha taught us the middle way, middle path. Of course, middle path. There are several synonyms for equanimity, such as indifference, level-headedness, cool-headedness. You see, cool-headedness. If you have equanimity, you are cool. Your head is cool. Cool-headedness. Cool-headedness. Equability, imperturbability, wisdom, sagacity, judiciousness. These are some synonyms for equanimity. Equanimity is one of the 4 sublimes abodes. Buddha in many discourses taught us to practice, develop 4 sublime abodes, 4 Brahma Vihara: Metta, Karuna, Mudita and Upekkha. Upekkha is equanimity. All these 4 are to be generated, to be developed, cultivated and suffused with all beings in the world. With all beings in the world. Referring to equanimity, the Buddha said, when you develop this, extend this equanimous thought to all beings, to 1/4. 1/4, that's how the Buddha said, 1/4 first. And likewise the second, likewise the third, likewise the fourth, above, below. This is the Buddha's teaching. So we extend this equanimous thought to all beings in 6 different directions. Just as metta. So, metta, karuna, mudita, upekkha, all the 4 are to be extended, to be suffused with all beings in the world. If we see things, if we see insight, always we have insight. Insight. We see what is right. We see what is good, what is wholesome, what is merit. We have right understanding. If we have right understanding, where we are stopping, that is the first step of the path. Right understanding. First thing. Right understanding is possible only by abandoning wrong understanding. There are wrong things, wrong understanding, wrong path, of course. That is why the Buddha said right understanding. Wrong understanding and right understanding. In order to come to right understanding, you have to give up wrong understanding. Then you can come to right understanding. If we have right understanding, how the Buddha defined what you call right understanding? Right understanding means understanding the 4 noble truths. You see? 4 noble truths. Then we are on the path. We can follow the path. Noble Eightfold Path. So right understanding, this equanimity teaches us to understand things as they are. When we understand things as they are, we know what is useless as useless, meaningless as meaningless. When we understand meaninglessness of things, we give up things. In the time of the Buddha, in his own hometown, his own people, relatives, from his maternal side and paternal sides. One day there was a meeting. In the meeting, 2 persons they start to argue each other, and after a while one of them stood up and gave a blow to the other person, and then there started a fight. The meeting was summoned there to discuss how to share water of the river Rohini. By that time only little water there. The both sides, both sides, the farmers, Buddha's maternal side and paternal side, they both were farmers. They wanted water, the little water to be divided, but it is impossible to divide this. However, they got together to share this water. Finally, they thought that it is better give this water to one side. Then the other side, they did not like it. Where they discussed, but they couldn't come to a peaceful conclusion. Thereafter, what happened? This fight went on among the people, and then it was informed to different persons like high rank, eventually from ministers and to the king. Now the king themselves were not happy. They started to war. They waged a war, declared a war between the two groups. That simple thing. But eventually they declared a war, and then both sides, they came to the river Rohini. Now they are in the battlefield. Now they are going to shed blood, killed each other because of water. The Buddha saw this, his own people. Buddha saw this. Buddha visited the battlefield. Where? When the Buddha visited there, the Buddha asked them, the first thing he asked was, which is more important? Which is more valuable, blood or water? That is the Buddha's question. Then they realized, that is right understanding. They realized the meaninglessness of that, meaninglessness of killing each other just for water. They understood that blood is thicker than water. They gave up and they came to a conclusion. They came to a peaceful conclusion. It is because of understanding, because of right understanding. That is what is called nibbida. You understand meaninglessness of things. Now, we do many things, but still we cannot understand. One day, if we can understand the meaninglessness of this thing, uselessness of things, then we give up. That is what is called disenchantment. Nibbida, disenchantment. That is what we have to develop. Disenchantment. If we have disenchantment, which leads to dispassion, cessation, peace, enlightenment, and nibbana, the highest bliss. That is the way. I know you don't want to attain nibbana today. Let's come to daily life. How to apply equanimity in daily life. In your daily life, you all have to earn. Now, going back home tomorrow, start to work. You have to work. You have to earn. The Buddha has taught us a way to live as cultured people, civilized people, not as Buddhist, not necessarily Buddhist, but as cultured people. the Buddha said, avoid some sort of traits when you earn. Because if you want to live righteously, live a peaceful life, righteous life, you have to earn righteously. In order to earn righteously, Buddha said several traits, like 5 different traits. You know these 5. Do not raise animals for slaughtering. To raise animals and sell them. That's not a good thing especially for Buddhists, those who follow the Buddha. It's not a good trade. Then the Buddha said, do not sell weapons. Selling weapon. Then do not sell meat. Do not sell liquor, drugs, intoxicated things. And said, do not sell poisons. Those are 5 traits. And the Buddha said, when you earn, understand how to live righteous living, right living. That is what is called right livelihood. When we live righteously, we have to understand right livelihood. Ayancha bhoganam viditva, vayancha bhoganam viditva. Income and expenditure should be understood. Ayancha bhoganam viditva, vayancha bhoganam viditva, samanjiving kappete. Live a balanced life. Balanced means, again, equanimity. Balanced life. As I said, the Buddha taught us the middle path. Middle path is avoiding extremes. That is the first thing that the Buddha taught us. In his very first discourse, Buddha said, monks, there are 2 extremes not to be followed by you. 2 extremes are sensual indulgence and self-mortification. Both these are to be avoided. Then we come to the middle way, middle path. In the connected discourses of the Buddha, Buddha very clearly said, Kachana Gotta Sutta. Buddha said, Kachana sabbang attiti bho kachana ayang eko anto. All exist is one extreme. Sabbang natti, all does not exist, is another extreme. Both these extremes avoided by the Buddha. Then Buddha taught the Dhamma. In middle Dhamma, middle way Dhamma. What is that middle? That is the dependent origination. That is the Buddha's middle way. So middle path and middle Dhamma, middle way Dhamma. It is middle because the Buddha gave up 2 extremes, which are the eternalistic view and nihilistic view. Buddha gave up both these views also. So that to come to the middle. When you come to middle, that is equanimity, equanimous, where there is peace. Inner peace is there. Inner peace is because of equanimity. Again, in the numerical discourses, there is a particular discourse named Majje Sutta. The name of the sutta itself is Majja, middle, where the monks got together in the meditation hall and they talked about Dhamma. One monk asked Venerable Sirs, once the Buddha talked about one end and the second end and the middle. Buddha explained these things. The one who understands the first end and second end and the middle and avoid craving, he will be called a great person. What is this middle? He asked the monk. Then one monk said, one end means contact. The second end means arising of contact. The middle means cessation of contact. Then another monk said, one end, the first end means past. The second end means future. Present is middle. They talk about middle. And another monk said, pleasant feeling is one end, painful feeling is the second end, and neither painful nor pleasant is the middle. Then another monk, he said, physicality is one end, mentality is one end, and consciousness is the middle. Another monk said, personality existed is one end, origination of personality exists is the second end, and the cessation of personality existence is the middle. Finally, another monk said, 6 internal bases are one end, 6 external bases are the second end, and 6 classes of consciousness are the middle. So like that they talk about middle. All these are right. According to the teachings of the Buddha, all these are correct. So they finally said that we all expressed our views, though let's go to see the Buddha and ask what the Buddha meant by this. What the Buddha meant by middle, the ends and the middle. In that particular case, there where the Buddha addressing a student, Buddha earlier taught this Dhamma. These monks wanted to know the meaning of it. So they went to the Buddha and Buddha said, all your views are correct. But what I meant was, contact is one end, the origination of contact is the second end, the cessation of contact is the middle. That is how the Buddha said. So we always, Buddhist teaching is always to come to middle. When you come to the middle, you can understand things balanced. That is equanimity, balanced way, balanced life, equilibrium, what we call equilibrium. That is Buddhistic life. So this equanimity is necessary in our daily life. One day a certain deity came to the Buddha and said, dear sir, how did you cross the flood? The other day I talked about flood. I said there are 4 types of flood. Flood is all over. Flood, what is that flood? Flood is defilement. Flood of defilements. It's all over. We have to cross over the flood. Buddha did so. So this deity came to the Buddha and asked, Bhante, how did you cross the flood? Then the Buddha said, without halting, without straining, I crossed the flood. Without halting, without staying still, without halting, and without straining, means without struggling. That is how the Buddha crossed the flood. What do you mean by this? He himself asked, the deity himself asked, how did you do that? Then the Buddha said, whenever I stood still, I sank. That is what happened. If you stay still, then you will sink. Whenever I struggled, I got swept away. So without halting, without straining, I crossed the flood. What is that? Middle way, middle path. You see, middle path is the path. Buddha emphatically said, this is the path, this is the only way, this is the only way, this is the right path. When we practice meditation, we always think of practicing different jhana. Jhana, there are 4 different jhanas. First jhana, second jhana, third jhana, and fourth jhana. These are very important. When you practice first jhana, there are some jhanic factors. Jhanic factors are to be understood. And when you come to the second jhana, you drop 2 factors from jhanic factors from the first one. Thinking and examining, vitakka vichara. Then when you come to the third one, you drop another factor, which is piti, rapture. The third jhana, this is what I want to explain a little bit, where we can understand how equanimity is established there. In the third jhana, the factor of equanimity arises and developed. It is said, Pitya cha viraga, you drop piti, rapture as well. Upekkha cha viharati, upekha, you see, upekkha cha viharati. You dwell there with equanimous mind. Upekka cha viharati. You are practicing, maintaining equanimity. Upekka cha viharati. Sukhancha kayena patisangvedeti. You feel happiness through your own body. Happiness. Sukhancha kayena patisangvedeti. Yantang arya achikantati. Upekkha satima sukha vihariti. He lives mindfully with equanimity. Mindfulness and equanimity. Both are there in the third jhana. And also there is clear comprehension. Mindfulness, equanimity, and clear comprehension. These 3 are there in the third jhana. When you come to the fourth jhana, your upekka is well developed. That is the difference. Upekka is well developed in the third jhana, where you can take a decision to which way. That is the crossroad where you can understand whether you practice further the concentration meditation, and develop different types of knowledge, such as ability to perform miracles, read in others' mind, read in past lives, understand in your past lives, understand in how beings are born to this world and how they pass and are born somewhere else, understand in the sounds, different types of sound, humans or divine, such types of knowledge. That is one way. Or you can further develop, and you can develop immaterial jhana, immaterial attainments, such as infinite of space, infinite of consciousness, then nothingness, neither perception nor non-perception. So whenever possible, you can switch to insight and attain enlightenment. So this is after the fourth jhana. When you develop to the fourth jhana, it is said, Upekha sati parisuddhing chaturdhyadhyanam upasampajya virati. Upekha sati, both upekha and sati, mindfulness and equanimity, are very well developed. This fourth one. Like that, we have to understand this upekha. Now let's understand how to develop upekha, how to develop equanimity as a factor of enlightenment. You know, this one, the equanimity, is impossible without the support of the first 6 factors of enlightenment. Equanimity is impossible without concentration. Concentration is impossible without tranquility. Tranquility is impossible without rapture. Rapture is impossible without energy. Energy is impossible without investigation of Dhamma. Investigation of Dhamma is impossible without mindfulness. So all these are interlinked, interrelated, interdependent on also. So these are very important. Each one is important. So each one is to be practiced, developed, cultivated. You know, there are certain things which are to be dropped, which are to be abandoned, such as 5 hindrances. 5 hindrances are not to be developed. Those 5 are to be cut off. Once you cut off these 5 hindrances, then there are things to be developed. 7 things to be developed. The 7 are the 7 factors of enlightenment. When you develop these 7 factors, I guess all the speakers, the monks, mentioned this. When you develop these 7 factors of enlightenment, Buddha said, develop these 7 factors of enlightenment based on 4 different factors, 4 different things. We mentioned this earlier. Buddha said, Viveka Nissitang, Viraga Nissitang, Nirodha Nissitang, and Vosagga Parinaming. I always give you Pali because don't expect talks without Pali from me. Even though I use Pali, I give you the meaning. Don't worry. Don't be afraid of Pali. Pali is the language of the Buddha. That is how the Buddha gave this wonderful message to the whole world. So the Buddha said, Viveka Nishitang. Nishita means based on, lean in, depend on. So Viveka Nishita means based on Viveka. Viveka means detachment, seclusion. It is necessary, seclusion. Seclusion is necessary to practice, develop these 7 factors of enlightenment. Equanimity being the 7th one. For that also is necessary. Viveka Nishitang. Then Viraga Nishitang. Dispassion. Passionate mind, you cannot do that. It is dispassion. Dispassionate. Without passion. Based on dispassionate to practice. Viraga Nishitang. Then Nirodha Nishitang. Based on cessation. Nirodha Nishitang. And finally, maturing in release, that is liberation. These are the 4 factors. Based on these 4 factors, with the support of these factors, we have to develop 7 factors of enlightenment. In the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, the Buddha taught us how to develop 7 factors of enlightenment. Where the Buddha said, when you develop 7 factors of enlightenment, you have to be mindful every moment, where you have to understand whenever the factor of equanimity is arising, whenever it is there in your mind, understand it. Whenever the equanimity is there in your mind, understand that there is equanimity in your mind. Whenever it is not there, understand it that it is not there. You see, that is what is called reality. We always practice to understand reality. If something is there, we understand it as it is there. If something is not there, we have to understand it as it is not there. Then whenever the factor of enlightenment, as equanimity as a factor of enlightenment is arising, understand now the factor of enlightenment, this factor, equanimity, is arising. Whenever it is developed and cultivated, Buddha said, whenever it is developed and cultivated, then understand as it is developed and cultivated. Like that, we have to practice, develop this factor, equanimity, as a factor of enlightenment. When we develop, cultivate this factor, the equanimity as a factor of enlightenment, we can see dukkha as dukkha. That is the important thing. That is why I said that this is the most important one. It is with the support of all other six factors. When you come to this one, equanimity, your mind is balanced, you have equanimity. Your mind is well developed with equanimity, where you can understand dukkha as dukkha. You have no repulsion when you see dukkha, when you understand dukkha, whenever you experience dukkha, you are not repelled. No repulsion. No repulsion there. No repulsive thoughts. Repulsion. No such thing. But you understand it with an equanimous mind. When you understand dukkha as dukkha, you have investigative mind, you investigate the cause of dukkha. Then you understand the cause of dukkha. Then you understand the cessation of dukkha and the path leading to the cessation of dukkha. These are the Four Noble Truths. You understand, you realize it is not mere understanding. Now, this is the realization. You realize the Four Noble Truths. Together with the realization of the Four Noble Truths, you realize the three characteristics of existence: impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and soullessness as well. You can realize the three characteristics of existence, and again the dependent origination. Three principles: Four Noble Truths, the dependent origination, and the three characteristics of existence. You realize these three. Together with this realization, you become a stream enterer. When you become a stream enterer, your mind is steady. Your mind is steady. The Buddha said, as a post firmly grounded in the earth, is firmly grounded post like, cannot shake such mind. Yathinda kilo patavinsitosya. That is how the Buddha said this in the Jewel Discourse. And again he said, those who have comprehended these Four Noble Truths, taught in deep wisdom by the Tathagata, even though they are slightly negligent, they do not hide such wrongs. If they have done anything wrong, even slightest thing, they do not hide. And also, they will not be born the 8th life. That means only 7 lifetimes. They will be born again maximum 7 times, because of the realization of the Four Noble Truths. Because the person has entered the path as a stream enterer. His mind is clear. He has equanimity. His equanimity is well developed equanimity. In the Indriya Bhavana Sutta, Buddha explained how quickly equanimity is established. Given some similes, Buddha gave 6 different similes to explain how quickly the equanimity is established. In the Indriya Bhavana Sutta, the development of faculties, discourse from the Majjhima Nikaya, middle sayings, where according to this sutta, a certain person named Uttara came to see the Buddha. When he came to see the Buddha, Buddha asked Uttara, does your teacher, his name was Parasarya, the teacher, does your teacher teach the development of faculties? Then he said, yes, our teacher also teaches the development of faculties. Then Buddha asked, how does he teach? He said, according to him, we should not see form to the eye. We should not see forms to the eye. We should not hear anything from the ear. That is how he teaches. Then the Buddha said, oh well, then the blind are the one who have developed faculties, blind, and the deaf are the one, those who have developed, well developed faculties. With this, he became silent. His shoulders, brooding shoulders, he looked down and kept silent. Then the Buddha, addressing Venerable Ananda, said, Ananda, the development of faculties in Parasarya's teaching is different. In this sasana, in the Buddha's dispensation, the development of faculties in this discipline is different. Then Buddha explained how to develop faculties. Indriya Bhavana, development of faculties. Buddha said, according to this, the disciples of the Tathagata, disciples of the Buddha, they develop their faculties. Eye, ear, nose, tongue, body and mind. They develop their faculties. Whenever they see something through the eye, they are mindful. That is the difference. They are mindful. The Buddha's disciples are mindful to see things, see forms. When they see forms, there arises agreeable. There arises disagreeable. There arises both agreeable and disagreeable. Whenever they see things, as they are mindful, they see these things are conditioned. They are conditioned. So this is how we have to practice. This is the Buddha's teaching. We have to understand, when we see something, we have to understand this is something conditioned. Sankhata, condition. This is something gross, something fragile. Olarika, fragile, gross. And this is something dependently arisen. That is how the Buddha's disciples see things. When they see things like this, they can understand that rather grasping, clinging to this, they become peace. Then they experience, this is peaceful. This is sublime. That is upekkha, equanimity. The Buddha said, their equanimity is established. Their equanimity is established quickly as quickly as a strong man were to quickly shut his eyes, open eyes. He closed his eyes quickly, just like the person close eyes quickly, just like that. Quickly the equanimity is established. When you hear the same thing, it is so quickly as snapping of fingers. So quickly equanimity is established. Then when you smell, equanimity is established quickly as raindrops drop onto a slanted lotus leaf. When the raindrops drop on the lotus leaf, which is slanted, the water, the drops quickly drop off. Just like that, quickly you can understand equanimity is established there. To nose. Then whenever taste, it is just like a strong man were to collect some saliva as a ball, saliva, and spit out quickly. Such quick equanimity is established. Then body, referring to body, the Buddha said, equanimity is established as quickly as a strong man were to bend his extended hand like this, quickly. And mind, he gave the simile, as a person were to drop 2-3 drops of water onto a frying pan which was heated throughout the day. Whenever you put several drops of water, it's quickly vanished. Just like that, quickly equanimity is established. So like that, the Buddha said, Buddha taught the way that the Buddha's disciples, how they practice, how they develop and cultivate this Dhamma, and where equanimity is established. Equanimity is to be understood as the middle way. In the Chachakka Sutta, 6 sets of 6, Buddha taught us how underlying tendencies arise and how underlying tendencies pass. Without abandoning, without destroying underlying tendencies, one cannot attain full enlightenment. Underlying tendencies are the subtle form of defilements. Buddha said here in this sutta, in this discourse, 6 sets of 6, Buddha said, monks dependent on I and form, I consciousness arises. When I consciousness arises, meeting of the 3 is called contact. With contact, there arises feeling. Feeling is threefold: pleasant feeling, painful feeling, and neutral feeling. These 3 feelings, whenever the pleasant feeling arises, the person delights, welcome, hold on it, because it is pleasant. Whenever unpleasant or painful feeling arises, he does not like, does not delight, does not welcome, and instead sorrow, sochate, lament, and sometimes beat the chest, beat breast, because it is painful. Where there is underlying tendency. Whenever pleasant feeling is there, underlying tendency of lust arises there. When there is painful feeling, underlying tendency of aversion arises there. When you come to the middle, that is what we talk about equanimity. Equanimity also, if you are not mindful, if you do not see the arising origination, if you do not see the origination, cessation, gratification, danger and escape of it, you are not mindful. You do not come to equanimity, real equanimity. You cannot understand reality there. Instead, we have to understand the things as they are. For that we have to have mindfulness, clear comprehension, equanimity and wisdom. These four factors. These four factors are to be conjoined. Four factors are to be well developed there. Through that we can understand things as they really are, and as a result we can understand that the real nature of it, where we have disenchantment, dispassion, cessation, and it leads to the attainment of enlightenment. We come to realize reality, we come to realize liberation. When the mind is liberated in this manner, we can understand that it is liberated. Vimukta. Vimuktamiti jnanam hoti. You yourself can understand that your mind is liberated. So then you can understand, hereafter I will not be born again. Khina jati, destroy your life, your birth, no more birth. No more birth. Khina jati. Vusitam brahmacharyam. This holy life led. Vusitam brahmacharyam. Katang karaniyam, done what had to be done. Will not come back to be born again. That is the nature of the enlightened ones. Friends, we practice this Dhamma for this purpose. That is our goal. But when we practice this Dhamma in this manner, equanimity as a factor, we can apply this in our daily life. We have to apply this in our daily life. Otherwise, no meaning of practicing this Dhamma. Not only equanimity, other factors also. Mindfulness as a factor of enlightenment, mindfulness is to be developed. But we have to be mindful in our daily life. We have to do our investigation of Dhamma, not only Dhamma, other things also. We have to have investigative mind. Like that, the factors are to be applied in our daily life also. So, as we all practice throughout these days, today this is the last Dhamma talk, and you all engaged, you all very well, and we appreciate it. And as we all engage in this practice in Dhamma, we all acquire great deal of merit. By the power of all this merit, may we all attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sad, sad.